Mike, there are two things that have made my day so far today. You want to know what they are?
Will they make my day?
One of them will. The other one, I don't think actually matters to you at
So it'll
all, but
make
I'm
my
going to tell
morning.
you
Okay.
anyway. It'll make your morning. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Number one, and when I say make your day, I'm not thinking like, in
Like I'm
that
going to start
movie.
dancing or anything.
I was thinking more like old Western, like make my day kind of way, but yeah, whatever. So, uh, number one, we did a panel yesterday about we'll talk about it in a minute, but about how CISO liability and the fact that the Justice Department went after the went after one CISO, and then just this week civil charges,
Right from the
against
SEC.
from the SEC against SolarWinds, and I got an email from a CISO today saying that was great.
Oh,
Thank you
good.
so much. Yeah, it was really good. That was really,
Well, we
really
want them
informative.
all to be good, so
Yeah, and if folks
it's
want to
good to get
see
that
that,
feedback.
go to go to our YouTube channel, YouTube /Critical Insight, and you can see it there. We had a lot of takeaways for folks there, like if you don't have a named CISO or somebody in charge of security, you need one right now. And by the way, you should pay that person more because they have a lot of liability,
I do
and they
now.
need D&O insurance and all of those things. It's really important. So take a look at that. And if you don't have one, you need a vCISO service we provide, but we can recommend others. But you need someone in charge of that. So the second thing, Mike, that has made today a great day. And so far, like we've been in this for a minute and a half, and I'm sad that you have not mentioned it. It is my birthday.
Oh, it is your
Um,
birthday. Oh,
and
I did not know that.
we have entire computer systems to tell you that.
I should be
Uh,
scouring the HR system every day then.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm very sad that you have not wished me a happy birthday. Um, and I don't think we can be friends anymore. That's just how
Okay,
this
well, look,
goes.
just to atone a little bit, I will say this. You know that tomorrow is the observance of Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Do you know what else tomorrow is?
What?
Happy birthday, United States Marine Corps.
Excellent.
And so, if you know anybody that was a USMC, tomorrow is the day to tell them happy birthday, and they'll
Good.
all
Very
know
good.
what you mean. Yep.
Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. Um, and we have a lot of veterans on staff, so we will
We
do
do.
so internally. All right. There's security awareness training tomorrow. I just got a request from a hospital for us to come do an in-person one at the end of November.
Hmm.
Folks are understanding the increasing importance of this, so make sure you come to ours tomorrow. Go to criticalinsight.com, click on events at the top of the screen. You see how I'm doing my finger as if people could just follow that to the top of the screen. Yeah, that. Okay. Let's talk news, Mike. Yesterday, news release and postings and all of this about Shields Ready, a
Hmm.
new Shields Ready plan, not Shields Up, Shields Ready.
Right.
Mike, what's this one about?
Yeah, this is all fresh in my mind because I just talked to Dark Reading about this.
Mm-hmm.
So what the federal government is saying, what they have said is shields up, which is all
Mm-hmm.
about put the controls in place to prevent bad things from happening.
Mm-hmm.
And now what they're saying is get ready for something bad to happen. Get ready to take that punch and, get up off the mat before the 10 count. They made this announcement at the port of Longview along with the United States Coast Guard. And so I don't know if that's sending a message there. The ports are a huge economic exposure for the United States,
Mm-hmm.
but they're moving from work hard to prevent this to get ready to recover when it happens. And with all of the warnings that we've seen coming from the FBI and from CISA and actually from DoD, about the desire for other countries to disrupt our infrastructure. And after we've seen it happen in a number of
Mm-hmm.
places, you probably saw that article about the largest flour producing plant in Israel was disabled
Did.
by basically activists.
Sure.
And so, our expectation is this is about to land on our doorstep. And that's, I think, the hidden message in here.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think we need to tell anybody here that, what happens in the Mideast leaks over into what happens in the US,
Mhm.
regardless of what side you're on. Oh, there's like 72 different sides here. But, regardless of how you feel about it, understanding that when there are cyber attacks in the Middle East or two sides are angry with each other, yeah, it's going to come here. And I think that's and not only are we saying that, but John Rigi, who runs cyber for the American Hospital Association, has been going to hospitals around the country and telling them you got to pay attention to what's going on in Gaza and Israel because that's gonna that's gonna come
That's
over.
threat
So
intelligence, yeah.
yep,
And
yep, yep.
and healthcare in particular, is in the sights here. If you want to, destabilize, disrupt a country, knocking down their healthcare is the way.
Yeah. Speaking of healthcare, there's a bureaucracy problem.
There is interesting article talking about how bureaucracy is complicating healthcare's hacking problem. I think that
Hmm.
was the name of the title of the article. And what they're saying is, we're getting this guidance coming from everywhere. This is very confusing. What are we supposed to be
Hmm.
doing? It's coming from obviously Health and Human Services, but also Homeland Security, CISA, Department of Justice, Department of Education, Treasury, Commerce. Everybody's got something to say about healthcare cybersecurity, and it does get confusing. And I think the most interesting thing about that is following that up, there's a new bipartisan Senate group to tackle healthcare cyber. And so we're going to get even more. Now, is that going to consolidate things? And here's your the one place to go for your guidance? Probably not. You
Well,
know,
I look. I'm gonna let me play devil's advocate with you and say I think we've actually seen um, uh, some better work from the federal government in the last couple of years.
the
We've
toolkit
seen
they put out is really nice.
yeah, the toolkit. We've seen CISA. We've seen CISA put everything under critical infrastructure. We've then seen CISA say, okay, everybody pay attention to the NIST CSF, and we want everybody to align to that.
Hmm.
I don't know. And again, this is Senator Warner who put out the report. Was it now 2 years ago? That was the big healthcare cyber report. I'll play devil's advocate and say I think that instead of just another bipartisan group trying to tackle it, they might make some headway. We'll see.
They might, this could also end up being another, just another set of stuff to add to that list. I already said, Treasury, Justice, Education, and now Congress.
Yeah, I mean, at least they won't create any unfunded mandates. So,
Mm.
by the way, speaking of funding, so Mike, on a different topic, I got an email from my mortgage company,
Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Cooper.
Cooper.
Do I know Mr. Cooper? Mr. Cooper asks me for money every month.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to tell you funny. And Mike's going to tell you what happened here. But Mr. Cooper was hit by a ransomware attack. So, Mike, tell everyone what happened. I'm going to tell you a funny story about this.
Well, they got hit with a ransomware attack, and they've started to notify their customers. You sent me the notification that you got, and at the
Mhm.
time, I was sitting in Atlanta at a restaurant with my college roommate because I had gone to an education conference out there to speak. And he said, "Hey, that's me too." So apparently, they have a lot of customers. They're promising not to charge any fees or penalties or negative credit reporting, based on late payments because they know this thing is so snarled. So that's what I know. What else?
So, well, first of all, they like of consumer facing entities that have had a cyber attack, they actually did a pretty good job of telling people within 48 hours that this was going on and you wouldn't be penalized. But the way that I figured it out and the way that we figured out something was going on was I had too much money in my bank account. I was
Mm.
like, because they
Oh,
didn't,
wow.
they didn't suck it out in the way that
Right.
they, hoover it out every month from my bank account. So
Hmm.
that's how I figured it out. And on a Sunday when we realized we had too much money in our bank account, my wife was like, "Huh, were they hit by a cyber attack?" Clearly, we spent
Did
too much time talking about cyber attacks.
did I tell you that I went and checked bank account and I found out that somebody had set up ACH transfers and taken $7,000 out?
For who?
I got cybered.
Oh no! I'm
Hmm.
sorry to hear that. Did you get it
Yeah,
back?
working on it. It was
Mhm.
ACH and I caught it 2 days after, so we ought to be able to get it back. They give you the paperwork to sign for provisional deposit back into your account until they sort it all out. I haven't checked recently, but it's they're probably reached that step now, and they're trying to get it claw it back from the other bank.
Yeah.
When that
What a
happens,
bummer.
yeah, when that happens, we report all of this stuff, and hopefully there's a takedown there of bank accounts. And in fact, we just did a report this morning. One of our customers had an attempted, business email compromise where they said, and here's where we want you to deposit the money straight over the fence to the Fusion Center. It's already gone to Secret Service and the FBI, and then that bank account's going to get shut down. So,
Good.
that's the way to tie that loop off. And we ought to everybody ought to be doing that.
Yep.
Everybody that's in the business we're in, close that loop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure. All right. Back to news here.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the big things that happened last week is, speaking of good things CISA's doing, is they opened the grant process for tribes. Can you remind people what the grant is, and then tell tribal organizations what to do?
Yeah, well, it's an analog. In fact, it's identical to the state local cybersecurity grant program, right? Except tribes are sovereign nations, and this is set aside just for them. So I think it's $18 million, and it should follow the same rules as the other grant, which is all it's spelled out in the notice of funding opportunity, the thing they call the NOFO. So if you read that, it'll say what you can do, what you can't do with this money. For the most part, the good thing to do is engage to get an assessment. And what that will do is it will inform your next grant proposal. Say, we have assessed ourselves, and here are our deficiencies as we measured ourselves against the NIST cybersecurity framework, or whatever standard of practice you want to use there. So that's a good way to get into this. And I do hope there's a lot of uptake. Tribes have all kinds of health records. They run casino operations. The gaming industry has been hit over and over recently.
MGM.
Yeah, that's not. What was the one in Singapore that just
got
smashed, right? Yeah. So, heads up, if there's, money on the table to, get your controls in order, do that.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, another big story from this week was out of Russia.
One?
Well, I mean, there's a bunch, but so Ukraine says that Russia is now teaching students how to hack infrastructure, right?
This is troubling. This is super troubling. Right. So they're having these schools, just like, we teach our operators, on offensive security. They are now, this is a report from somebody in Ukraine. And remember, there's disinformation and propaganda and things like that. This one's believable. They are being taught to attack, and this is the quote, being taught to attack not only Ukrainian systems, but also those of partner companies. Shields ready, right? That's what we're talking about here. When stuff like this is going on in the world, this is not a joke. This is serious. This is coming and to land on our doorstep, and it looks like they're training people to do specifically that.
Yeah. I mean, not a surprise. All right, Mike. Threats and vulns. What do you got?
Okay, just some big ones for, I think, most companies. Let's get Patch Chrome out of the way.
No, we have to do Patch Chrome at the end.
Okay. So Atlassian, right? Confluence. Atlassian is like really hitting the panic button on this thing. So if you are not a cloud user of Confluence, but if you have on-prem, you got to get that thing patched. QNAP, command injection flaws in their QTS and OS apps. Definitely get that patched if you're a QNAP user, right? That's a storage company. Veeam is a backup company, VEEAM, and a lot of our local government and hospital customers use Veeam, and there's critical flaw in there. Patch Now says users running the affected versions are recommended to stop the Veeam 1 monitoring and reporting services, replace the existing files with the files provided in the hotfix, and restart the two services. So there's your instructions.
And by the way, like, what a thing to get Veeam, finally get the money to get Veeam, and then find out that Black Cat, which is one of the ransomware games, has figured out how to get into Veeam.
Yeah, well, and so figured out how to get into under active exploit, right? And we're saying we're reading lots of stuff about not only that Atlassian, but an Apache problem being under active exploit right now. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to patch. I left off, the round off error and, what new named gangs are doing what, because I don't think that's very interesting, but there's stuff to patch.
Patch. You should patch. Everybody should
Hmm.
patch. And restart your Windows computer and patch Chrome. All right. At
Hmm.
the end of all of these, Mike, you have something to make us all laugh because this has been very depressing.
Or
What do
something
you got?
absurd.
Or something absurd. What do you got?
Something absurd. Well, so you may laugh. I don't know. So apparently, a woman goes online and finds rentahitman.com
Oh, good.
and tries to engage someone to basically cap somebody. Um, you doofus, you're talking to the FBI. You've got to know that stuff like that is not real. And apparently, this rentahitman.com is a parody site, and it's not that difficult to figure out, right? And so the quote is, and of course this comes from the Register. Note to would-be criminals: overtly illegal activities are rarely offered on the public internet. Even on the dark web, things like contract assassins tend to be undercover feds as well. Duh, duh. So, I just don't know what to tell you about, Americans and their lack of radar for what's real and what's not. It seems to be a continuing problem, and here it's manifest in the worst way.
Well, that's pretty good, Mike. You did a good job. Well
Okay,
done.
glad you
Well
like
done.
that one.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe for my birthday you got me Rent a Hitman. That's very good. All right. All right, everybody. It was great seeing you, Mike. Great seeing you.
Yep.
Everybody, in honor of my birthday, it's a great day. And remember, tomorrow, Veterans Day, observe some Veterans Day, and the birthday of Mike.
The United States Marine Corps.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Bye bye.
See you later.